everyone, and thank you for joining me again in my podcast, Breaking the Silence Together. Today is going to be on a topic that many of us have either walked that journey already or in that journey right now, that process. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeannie Perez, and I am the founder of You're Not Alone. And it's an organization supporting and helping people with mental illness or any kind of addiction. We support mental illness and addiction 200%. And that is what our podcast entails. It just supports at all times. It's going to be raw talk, real life events, real situations on whether it's a mental illness situation or an addiction, but that's all we talk about. That's all we cover in my podcast. It will be mental illness or an addiction. If you are new to this podcast or you've never heard of me before, this is your first time even taking out the time of your busy day to see what it's about, I want to say thank you and welcome. Today's topic is going to be a topic that we've all heard of. I mean, you might have heard it in a different wording, you might have heard it in a different way, but at the end of the day, it's going to all be almost the same. And this is something that's been brought up to me, not just from my clients, but other organization leaders that I've spoken with. And I've seen it for myself, this process that a lot of individuals go through. And sometimes it's really hard for them to wrap their head around it because it just feels guilty to them. And that is the guilt of overcoming people. It feels like healing doesn't always mean reconciliation. And what I mean by that is when you're about to you're healing from a mental illness or you're recovering from a addiction, our lives start to change. And that's what this topic is going to be about. If you can resonate with that, or that is something that you would love to hear, or you want to know more about it, this episode is for you. I want to start out with something almost like I did yesterday because I think it helps. Just doing a little breathing with someone. Usually it does help a lot out with my clients. So I just want to use it on here too, maybe to help someone else. And that's just breathe in right now, and just take a moment for yourself and pause. And just breathe in and say, I'm growing. And just hold it and just really mean it to yourself, like say it to yourself, I'm growing. And then I want you to exhale and just let it out and say, even if it's uncomfortable. I'm growing even if it's uncomfortable. Because this topic is going to be based on a lot of uncomfortability. Moments that we just don't feel right, we feel alone. This is what this conversation is going to be about today. Guilt when we shouldn't be feeling guilt. So I want to start out by saying anyone out there that's listening to me right now or listens to this podcast later on, just want to say that I applaud you if you've decided to go in recovery from an addiction. I applaud you for reaching out for help if you're dealing with a struggle with mental illness. This is the start of your new life. This is the start of your new journey. This is the step that you've been wanting and waiting for so long, and you finally did it. And I want to say congrats, and I'm really proud of you. Whoever it is out there, I don't care where in the world you are right now. And if you're listening to me and this is something that you already started, I'm really happy for you. And if this is something that you are getting ready to do but you don't know how to do, and that's healing or going to get help with your addiction and start the road to recovery, I want to say do it. It's worth it, and you're gonna see life at a whole different way. But still sit here and really listen to this podcast today, because I'm hoping that it really helps you out on making that next step. With that being said, I know that sometimes many, when they start the healing process, your emotions, your actions, just you in general, you start changing. You start becoming this other person, not in a bad way. You might think in that moment it's in a bad way because you're feeling all these different emotions and you're getting all this feedback from people that have been around you for so long, and they're so used to that other person. You're no longer, once you start healing and you're in recovery or you're healing from mental illness, you're in a good spot. You're starting to grab all that good energy. You're starting to do more. You're starting to love yourself more, respect yourself more, and you're really finding out with yourself who you are and what you want to do. And when we start getting in that journey, and we start really weighing out what life was meant for us, and we start weighing out on how we want to continue life, what's our future, what we want to do, we start setting up boundaries that we never did before. Whether it might be family members, it might be a parent, it might be a loved one, it might be friends, or it might be everyone together. Because when we're in these mental illnesses or addictions, we have a lot of conflict with, especially loved ones. And sometimes they'll continue to deal with us or deal with individuals, even though they're having a lot of conflict and stuff. But when someone is dealing with mental illness or an addiction, they always continue to do. Like, someone asks them to do something, they'll just say sure when they really didn't mean it, They don't never keep a boundary up. They just let everyone in and continue to do whatever they want to them. But when you start healing, the way that you look at stuff is different, and the way that you respect yourself and love yourself, and start building the boundaries up is different. So maybe maybe a loved one is not used to you saying, no, I don't feel like doing that right now. But when you start healing, you start doing that. You start doing those kind of things because you're listening to yourself. Now you're doing what you want to do instead of making that other person happy all the time, or always just trying to shrink yourself just to fit. You're no longer doing that. So, a lot of people are not going to understand you when you're doing these changes. Because what do you mean you don't want to do it? Because they're so used to you saying yes or whatever, yes, sure. And when you start building those boundaries and you start saying no, or you start doing more on your own instead of always depending on others to do with you or do for you, you start feeling like you either they start making you feel like you're abandoning them, or you start making yourself feel like that. It can happen either way. But it's not that you're abandoning them. It's that you're starting to really think about stuff, and you're no longer going to abandon yourself. It's not that you're abandoning them, it's that you're no longer going to abandon your needs, abandon you, on how you really feel and what you really want to do. Now you're thinking about you. Now you're putting yourself first. And sometimes, because we start feeling like we're at a distance, because we're no longer seeing things like before, or we're no longer seeing things on how other people wanted us to see things, we start feeling guilty, or we start feeling almost alone because we're not having that connection no more, like we did with everyone else before, when we were just doing whatever they wanted us to do, or we were just shrinking our needs just to fit in. So now you might be feeling like you're a little alone. You might start feeling like you're guilty because you feel as though you're not doing as much as they wanted you to do before. You're no longer just shrinking yourself just to fit, So you yourself might start feeling a little weird, a little off balance, a little guilty. But I want you to know there's nothing to feel guilty about, because you're growing. Now is your time. You're growing. Now you're going to flourish the way you want to flourish in life. And that's nothing to be feeling guilty about. This is growth. This is a new start for you. And you just need to realize that the individuals or the circle that you've been around, or the people that you've been around with, as your family, your loved ones, a sibling, a friend, they might not be, it's not that you're leaving them behind. It's that right now they might not be growing with you. So you're taking a step forward, but they might not be taking it with you, and you have to accept that. Because in order for you to grow as a person and heal in a healthy way, whether it is from a mental illness, whether it is from an addiction, in order for you to heal in a healthy way and flourish and live life the way you want to do now that you're healing, you have to just accept yourself. You have to first love yourself, fulfill your needs first before you worry about the ones that are not growing with you. Because this healing journey and this recovery journey, you're the one that's walking it. You're the one that's doing it. And you're growing. They're not worrying about growing with you because they feel as though that situation you had to deal with, that's you, not them. So I want you to know that at this moment you might feel as though you're no longer a part of that group or no longer a part of that family, or you just feel like you're being disconnected from them, but you're not. You're just seeing things in a different way now. You're putting yourself first. You're growing. You're healing. So you're going to see life at a different way. But it's a good way because you're getting help. And you're healing from what you need to heal from. And you're going to become this person that you've been waiting to become. You've been dying to be this person. You're going to do it now. You're healing. You're recovering. Hang on to it. Do what you need to do on a daily basis. Don't let the disconnect because, these individuals or your loved one or whoever it is not growing with you. Don't let that hold you back. Because once you get to where you need to get to, they'll either meet you at your journey once you finish that line where you're at right now, or they're going to need to stay where they're at. Because you need to focus on yourself. You have to put yourself at one right now. You're the main important thing right now is you. And I know because I had someone bring this up to me, and this was a while, but I decided to talk about it now. Where she just felt like she had nobody. She's like, I'm doing so good now. I stopped using, and I'm doing so good now. And now it seems like I have no friends. No one really looks out, doesn't call me, they don't text me, they don't invite me nowhere. I don't have nobody. She said, I just feel like I'm alone, like I'm starting all over, making friends with people that I don't know. I'm making new friends now because the people that I'm so used to, the people that I thought loved me, don't even bother with me no more. And, I had to talk to her. I said, well, you need to really think, was the people that you were considering your friends or you really thought that they really meant good for you, was it the ones that you were getting high with? Because those are two different circles. That's two different lives. Right now, you're not getting high no more. So, of course, if it's the people that were getting high with, they're not going to come looking for you because they know you're not getting high no more. And they want to continue to get high, you're not. So, they don't want to be around you because they just want to be around somebody they can get high with. And now that you're growing and you're no longer living that life, they could care less what you're doing. They just worrying about their next fix. I told her, I said, but you got to understand that regardless whether they're not there for you, but if you could ever help them with something and help them recover also, I said, reach out to them. Even if they don't reply your texts or they don't reply on any of your calls or whatever, if you're going out to their homes or whatever and they're still not answering to you, I said, you keep pushing it. I said, because they see you, and I'm sure that they're happy for you in their own way. They're dealing with something that you was dealing with before, and once they're ready to get help, they're going to get it. I said, but if there's any way that you can help them, I said, don't forget about them. I said, I'm so happy for you that you're doing things the way you're going, you're recovering. You're going to your meetings and you're doing what you need to do. I said, and even though you feel alone, you're really not alone. You just do, life for you is a different way now. You got to remember now you need to associate yourself with people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, wanting to stay clean, wanting to prosper in life and do things right, be drug free. I said, that's what you need to be, thinking about now, surrounding yourself with that kind of aura, that kind of people. I said, because you don't want to go hang out with somebody that's getting high, because that's not going to help you at all. Even though you're saying you're strong, that you're not going to get high again, but it just doesn't help you out. I said, don't forget about them. They'll always be your friends, people that you associate that you know. I said, and if you can help them, go ahead and help them. I said, but you need to start out clean now. I said, now when it comes to your family is always just one. We come into this world with a family, we're going to go out with the same family. Family never changes. I know sometimes family don't always get along. But at the end of the day, family is family. I don't care what the situation is. At the end of the day, family is family. And there's no other way I can put it. There's no other way. And I know it's hard for some people because some people feel like, oh, well, I haven't talked to my family in years. I don't even want to know about them. But it's like I said, we all have our differences. And I know as we get older, sometimes we just apart from our loved ones. We start seeing life a different way. We start living life in different ways. Your sister might live life one way, you might live another one, your brother, your mom, your dad, whatever it is. I know that sometimes family, we kind of apart. But at the end of the day, regardless of what happens in our lives or regardless of how we see life, we can't change that. Family will always be family. So if you're healing from a mental illness or an addiction and you haven't really been connected with your family in a long time, or you just feel as though that it's not the right time right now because they've never been there for you, they've never given you support, or maybe you feel as though that you're in a situation that you were in because of them. I don't know. But for me, I'm a family person, and I will always stick by my family 200%, whether I think they're right or wrong, or whether I spend every day with them or not, whether I see them every couple of years, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I know family is family, and I'm going to always be there for my family regardless. So I'm just saying to you that if you're in that situation, friends is a whole different thing. Friends, they either grow with you or they don't, and you have to move on. Family, and I know everybody might not agree with me, but family, you grow, you do your life, you do what you need to do, you heal, you recover, you follow your journey. Because you've always put yourself first. But don't ever forget, family is one. So if it's family that you need to reconnect with, when you're ready, because I know when we're healing or we're recovering, sometimes it takes time for us to really come in tune with ourselves first. So when you come in tune with yourself, you feel comfortable, you're doing good in your journey, and you feel as though you're in a safe space where you're ready to connect with family, reach out to them. Let them know how good you're doing. Show them how good you're doing. Make that reconnection. Because family you can't change. Family you can't say, oh, I'm going to go make a new friend. That's a new friend. But family, they can't replace them. You might agree with me if you don't, but like I said, I'm a family person, and the way I feel, even if I don't deal with my family, I don't see my family for years, I can't replace them. They'll always be part of me. Can't change that, So if that's what you're going through, when you're ready, make that connection. Even if they didn't grow with you, even if they didn't walk with you through this journey, reconnecting with your family is going to be part of your healing. Reconnecting with your family is going to be part of that recovery. Believe me, it's going to be part of it. It's going to really, really get you where you need to get to, and you're going to feel supported. Because the support from a family member is just so different, so totally different from a support from an individual that you might have just met or a friend that you might have known all your life. Even if you've known that friend all your life, the support from a family member and from that friend is not going to feel the same. So if that is a connection that you need to make and you feel as though they didn't grow with you, or you feel alone because you're no longer around this family, or you just feel as though part of that healing, which I'm sure is going to probably be part of that healing and part of that recovery, is going to be reaching out to that family member and reconnecting. All I'm saying, you don't have to do it, but I'm just saying as for me, because I'm a family person, family is number one to me. I feel as though that's really, really an important piece of puzzle up and add it to your recovery or to your healing. I brought this up to me because one of my clients sent me a bunch of information about 2 days ago. This was part of it. This is one thing that she sent. She sent me a whole bunch of stuff. She's been in a good healing journey for almost about 8 months, and she just put together for me stuff that she's been going through, like these 8 months. So she sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and part of this, like she said in her notes with this topic, because she was so good. Like, she even put notes and everything in here for me, because she really, really is hoping. Like she said, Jeannie, a lot of the people that are listening to you are dealing with the same thing that we're dealing with, and I'm sure that this is going to probably help someone. And I said, you know what, you're right. Send me whatever you can. And this is part of what she sent me. And in her notes with this, she put that it's sad where you feel as though you're so put together and so happy when you have this group of people that you're with when you're getting high. You feel as though they're family to you. You feel as though like they're the world. Like you lose so much and you burn so many bridges with other people that really, really were a part of your life, that really were the ones that never wanted you to go on that path that you went on. But you burn all those bridges with the real people that really love you, and then you get this group of people together that all they want to do is get high with you. They're all good for you. They love you. They swear that they got your back. They swear they do whatever needs for you. And then when you decide to get yourself clean, like she said, when I decided to get myself clean, everybody just turned their back on me. She said they just turned their back on me. And I just really, till this day, she said, I just really can't say how I feel about that, Jeannie, because I feel as though they really hurted me, because I really thought, and I guess it was because I was in this dark cloud, in this cloud of just getting high, that there were people that loved me. She said, and now that I'm sober and I'm clean, I realize that these people that I wasted my life with, and then I burned the bridges on with the people that really love me, it just hurts. And I get it, and I understand her, and I really, really, truly had to get on the phone and call her after I read a lot of her stuff, because I can really tell that she's healing, she's sober, she's recovering, she's not getting high anymore, but I still see that she's dealing with some pain issues that she's still trying to work through. And I believe that this is part of healing. A lot of people are going to individuals still deal with, even though you're healing from mental illness or you're in a recovery, whether it's like her, she's 8 months, she's going to be almost a year soon. She's no longer getting high. She's recovering with that part on a day by day, but now it seems like she's also dealing with some kind, little pain issues that she's trying to make sense of. And I guess it's the part where she feels as though that, her getting clean and becoming this different person, she feels as though like when she was messed up, she burnt the bridges with the people that really loved her. And then the people that she started really caring for just turned her back on her. And I guess she's still trying to make that make sense. And, I had to call her and tell her, you didn't abandon them. You really didn't. If that's how you're feeling, if your pain is that you feel as though you did something you wasn't supposed to do when you decided to get clean, I said, there's no guilt. Like, you shouldn't be feeling guilty about that, or you shouldn't be feeling that you abandoned anyone. I said, what happened is you're no longer abandoning yourself. You're no longer becoming this shrink. You're no longer shrinking yourself every day just to fit in, And because you're no longer doing that, you feel as though you almost feel as though like you're guilty of not, like if you're no longer loving them. And I said, no, it's not that. She said, well, now it feels like, I know they turned their back on me, but I'm not that kind of person. I still love them. She said, I love every last person I got high with still to this day. She said, I want them to get well so we can just become that connection again. She said, I want them all to get well. She said, I don't want bad for any of them. And I said, you know what? That's the way you're supposed to feel. You're not supposed to want bad for anyone just because they're not doing the same. You're the same as good as you are. I said, you can love them from afar. Anybody that is really not meant to be with you right now and grow with you, or someone that you're healing from but you really love them, you have to learn how to love from afar. You have to love from afar, where that love is not going to destroy you. That love is not going to take you back and put you back where you were at, or where you're healing or trying to recover from. So that's why we have to start trying to Build boundaries when you're healing. Build boundaries when you're recovering, because love is an emotion that's really hard, very tricky, very triggering. Sometimes love can just set you back so fast and you won't even realize it. And that's what I was trying to tell her, because I think really her problem is not so much the group that she was hanging with and getting high with, but I think she started really, a guy or individual that she was dealing with, she was really emotionally intimacy with this person, and she started falling in love with this person. Even though he might have not wanted to grow with her or get clean with her, she did it anyway. So I think her problem right now is that she knows that he's no good for her at this moment because he's still getting high and she's not. But the love that she has for him has her like gripped up, and that's what she's trying to learn how to work around mentally. And that's why I'm saying today to anyone that's listening and can really resonate with that you might have started growing and healing, but someone that you really, really love is not growing with you. You have to learn how to love this individual from afar until they decide to get healthy with also and start growing with you or catch up to you in this healing process. Because like I said, love is very hard. Love is very hard, and it's very tricky. It's very sneaky. Love has a lot of triggers to it. And sometimes it'll just blindside us. It just sneaks up on you, boom. And you just feel as though you can't do it out. And it puts you in that predicament. And you do things without thinking. And sometimes when you do things without thinking, when it comes to love, and you do it, then you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And then you're back to square one, So you have to be very careful if you're going through some kind of emotions like that while you're healing, while you're recovering, to really, really grasp yourself. Maybe go talk to someone, really talk to yourself and understand that right now, this is all part of healing. The way that you're feeling like you're alone. You might be feeling guilty. You might be feeling like you abandoned someone that you really, really love, but they're not growing with you. They didn't decide to get on this journey with you. Please, just pause. Because if you give in to this feeling, if you give in to these thoughts, this guilt, you're going to fall back. And you're going to have to start all over again. Even though there's nothing wrong with starting all over again. Because like I said yesterday in my podcast, a restart is always good. You never give up on yourself. But once you're already walking this journey, or you're about to walk this journey, just try to talk it out as much as you can. And like I said, everything is not meant for us. Sometimes we think it is, but it really isn't. And sometimes when we're in different situations and we want to grow from that situation, or we want to get away from that situation, we want to become different people from what other people are used to seeing us as, it's hard. And I get it, and I understand it. Sometimes it's so hard to really, really deal with it, or even become this other person that you want to become. Sometimes it's so hard to grasp our minds around it. But that's where our strength comes in. And that's where we say, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. I got to do this for myself because I deserve it. And if that person that you really, really love is pushing you into these guilt stages, is making you feel guilty, is making you feel alone, is making you feel like you're abandoning them, if this person loves you just as much as you love this person, once you're healing, that person is going to wind up getting the help also that they need. And they're going to meet you in your journey. If they don't heal and they don't ever meet you in your journey, it was not meant to be. You have to move on. You have to do this for yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to live life the way you want to live it. Don't live it for others. Don't make changes, and don't shrink yourself and do things just to please someone else, or because you love this person and you just don't want to let go of them. You want to just live life the way they live in it regardless. Don't do that. Don't do that, because everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves to have a good life, a healthy life. And if that person is meant for you, they're going to get on this journey with you. They really are. You know, I'm hoping that someone is listening to me today that this makes or is going to make sense to you, that is shining a light on you, that if you are walking this journey, it's giving you that clarity that no, you're not alone. No, you're not abandoning anyone. You just stop abandoning yourself. You're starting to love yourself. You're healing. You made that step because you want to make the change. You started recovery because you want to make a change. Hold on to it. Don't let it go. And follow your plan. Do what you have to do on a daily basis to get yourself where you need to get. It's really, really important. With that being said, I just want to say thank you really, really to everyone for supporting me, walking on this journey with me, making this movement strong, really standing by me, whether it's with the podcast or just what I'm doing in general with the community or just doing in general with certain individuals. You know, they really are understanding what it means to stand by recovery, addiction. They're really understanding how strong I feel about getting help for anyone that's dealing with mental illness. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot to me. And I also want to say, because I know that this has to do a lot with the topic that I just brought up about the guilt, about outgrowing people. If you feel a lot of it has to do with grief, please just understand that grief, you know, is a part of healing. You know, sometimes you have to really grieve. You have to grieve on something that you were attached to for a long time. And it's okay to mourn it. It really is. It's really okay to mourn it. Just walk it out, you know, and just really, really stay on track. You know, continue to do your planning that you do every day, and just continue to love yourself and put yourself first, because that's what's important in this. When we're dealing with healing and recovery, we have to really stand ground and show up for ourselves before we can expect or show up for anyone else. And like I said, anyone that's not growing with you, that you feel as though you abandoned them, you continue to grow. They will catch up to you if they really were meant to be on this journey with you. I also want to say, with that being said, I also want to say, you know, anyone out there that wants to really, really join in with our movement, you know, if you have the time to go ahead and really help us out with this, if you want to volunteer your time, but please do not waste my time if you're not into really just, because I don't do anything else with this business, this organization. Please don't reach out to me for any other businesses. Because I know I had a call, and you know, I'm not trying to be ignorant about it. I'm not trying to be raw about it. But please, if it doesn't have nothing to do with this business, you're not alone. Not any of my other businesses. Do not use my toll-free number, please. I don't even know how to repeat that again. Please, do not use the toll-free number that is listed for You're Not Alone for any of my other businesses. If you're trying to reach out to me on any of my other businesses, I'm sure that site or whatever business you're trying to reach me on has a number with it. And I know that this person was trying to get a hold of me particularly. They didn't want to deal with the other person that's running the other business for me, but you got to understand, there's a process to everything. So please, do not reach out to me on my toll-free number with You're Not Alone if it's not anything that has to do with You're Not Alone. With that being said, if you are willing to volunteer and you do want to volunteer with anything that has to do with mental illness or drug and addiction, and it doesn't matter whether you are across the country, because my tools and resources and my services are available worldwide. I get calls from everywhere in the world. Our access is worldwide, so it doesn't matter where you're sitting at right now. You are able to help me in any kind of way if you want to. So please reach out to me. Let's make this happen. If you are a licensed therapist and you want to volunteer, please reach out to me. It doesn't matter where you're at, you can help. If you are a licensed counselor, reach out to me. You can help. If you're a licensed social services, you can help me. Reach out. If you just want to help as an advocate, I don't care where you're sitting at, reach out to me. You can help. With that being said, I just want to say, we are going to be having another event coming up on Saturday, supporting the LGBTQ beautiful community. I'm doing an event with them out here in South Jersey. If you want more information on that, please go to my social media. I do have that out there. Please come out and join us. Come out and meet me. If you've never met me, come out to my information table. Come out and meet me, or come out and help us. Like, I have so much that I do out in the community. If you're out here in South Jersey and you want to volunteer, or you want to bring something aboard that you think that would really benefit anyone with mental illness or an addiction, let me know. Because like I said, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about them. So if there's anything that you can bring to my attention that you really know will help an individual, someone can benefit from it, let me know. I'll put it on my show, I'll put it on my website, I'll do whatever it takes, because it's not about me. So please reach out to me. We just, these numbers are just growing, and I don't know how many times or how stronger I can say or how loud I can say it. These numbers are growing by the second. We're losing beautiful, beautiful souls to the mental illness. Someone taking their life every second of the day. We're losing a beautiful soul to an addiction. We're losing them. They're ODing by the second. Some of them will wake up out of this, they go into a coma, they wake up. They don't wake up as, some of them are lucky, they wake up and they go through some treatment and stuff and they're okay. But then you have some of them that OD, or some of them that try to take their life but they don't succeed at it, and go in a coma and wake up and they're a whole different person. They don't even know. They got to learn how to dress themselves again. They got to learn how to speak again. Their brain just goes into a shock. So, let's try to avoid that. Let's try to see if we can help these individuals from happening that to them, from stop them from thinking that they got to hurt themselves because they don't have no support, because they're tired of life, or this individual getting high, just fading away from life day by day because they no longer can deal with it. Let's make this movement stronger, where they'll realize that there is help out there, that there is someone out there that cares. There's a team out there that will support them and get them the help that they need regardless of where they're at in this world. Come and join me. Let's make this movement stronger. That's what I'm here for. That's what this podcast is for. That's what my organization is for. It's like I said before, it's not about what we can do, about getting clout, being on social media, or being on the live. Because like I said it over and over, that's not what Jeannie Perez is about. That's not what my organization is about. I'm here for them, and that's it. So if you feel the same way, please reach out to me. Let's make this movement stronger. Let's get this information out as much as we can. Believe me, I'm pushing this stuff out as much as I can worldwide. But like I said, we never can have enough. There's never can have enough of this information out there because the numbers are so big. But if you can help me out and get this information pushed out, or help me out in whichever way you think we can make this movement stronger, reach out to me. Let's make this happen. Let's no longer stay in silence. Let's no longer think that, they'll find a help some type of way, or let's no longer just leave it up to the world. Because we see now what the world is becoming. So, we really need to really do what we need to do to make this happen. So please, just reach out to me. Let's do this. Let's do them for them. That's what I'm saying. Let's do this for them, not for us. Because we're not the important people here. They're the important people here. So with that being said, that's basically really what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to really shine a light on someone that's healing, but they might have been feeling this way, or someone that's in recovery and they just feel as though things are not feeling right now because they're feeling like they're alone, or just guilty because they're no longer doing what they used to do with certain people. I'm here to just let you know you're doing the right thing. Continue to grow. Continue to follow this plan you have put in place to heal and recover. Don't give up on yourself. And I just want to close that out with my statement. Like I always said, It's okay to not be okay. It really is. I really hope that people are really understanding that what I'm saying is it's okay to not be okay. What's not okay, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, what's not okay is to think that you or anyone has to walk in the dark in silence alone, dealing with any kind of pain, any kind of triggers, any kind of emotion. You don't have to do this on your own. There's people out there that will help you. Just open up, get the help that you need. We're here for you. Hope to see everyone tomorrow at 6. I'm hoping to do my podcast today. I have to talk with my team to see how things are outside, but I'm hoping to do it today. And until next time, please take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones.